And so I just wanted to talk about America's Next Top Model, this documentary here. I know it rocked your soul last night,
I was not prepared for
and
that.
and we definitely had a good piece of convo that I'm not going to mention here because we do not need that in
No,
this.
no, 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 let's talk
Yes.
about it. We're already here now.
But I'm gonna just go kind of chunk by chunk real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So the first chunk is, of course, how the show started and that very first season, of course, we
Mhm.
as y'all know, Tyra. What I got from the very first beginning, like the creation of it, Tyra had it seemed like she had a chip on her shoulder a little bit. The way she told the from her
Absolutely.
perspective, she had a chip and this was like, I'll show you guys.
Mhm. That was
Boom.
absolutely what it was.
And then of course we saw how that ended up manifesting into like other things, but
Yep.
because y'all, I used to work in TV and I love the TV industry, so it was really great to like get that backstory of her and Ken Mock. I was like, does he still work? I don't know.
I
I
wonder,
get
does he still work? I don't think so. I don't know if he does many things now.
yeah. I thought that very first season that they showed, one of the things that stuck, of course, we're going to talk about Ebony, but like them them girls not knowing what they were getting into.
Sad.
Because of course, reality TV, especially at that time, was still very, like, fresh
Baby,
and new.
he ain't worked since
Mm,
2023.
so he is not not working.
Mhm.
Well, probably is now because 'cause they're gonna do another season of this show, but whatever the case is. But yeah, so then people signed up, and them not knowing how they or having any perception of how they were gonna be portrayed on the TV was so interesting to me, especially when they talked about, I forgot the Hispanic girl's name that Tyra fought for them to cast because they didn't want no Latina
Oh,
girls on that
yeah.
show.
What
And
was
she
her
was,
name? I don't
while
know,
you
let
looked that
me
up,
Imma look it up.
okay. Um, but her thing was, she was like, "Boom, I get to be on the show, and I'm sending my, booking cards out to all these agents and
Mhm.
blah, 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 blah." And baby, the way that they portrayed
Giselle.
her on that Giselle, the way they
Mhm.
portrayed Giselle on that screen, I would be embarrassed. And obviously she was embarrassed too,
Yeah,
because
clearly.
not only she was berating other people, but, like, she is being berated by Tyra, and they said that she built like SpongeBob.
Which is kinda crazy.
And mind you, these people are thin. That's the other gag, like, these people are thin. So that was wild to see, but, like, Ebony, they did our girl Ebony very wrong.
See, and that is where I knew that I was gonna stay pissed off right there, when I saw
Mhm.
Ebony and her experience, and I had even though I watched it live when it was happening,
Yeah.
at the time, I knew we didn't know all that backstory, but
Mhm.
that's when I knew that I was gonna have a hard time watching this,
Yeah.
because the internalized racism is crazy. It's so crazy. And to your earlier point, it was so much get back that when you give when you combine that get back and power and success and the fame of it all, it's a bad combination because now you are turning around and doing the same things that were done to you in the name of making a point. And here we
Mm,
are. Now you've damaged, okay, so many people. How do you call someone and tell them that the judges, one, only one, who was black? Huh? Huh? And also of dark skin. How do you call and tell a contestant like Ebony that she's ashy? And then allow your castmates to say, Ebony, your new moisturizing routine, it's getting all over the doorknob and it's greasy. Crazy.
crazy, and
From the
it's
Hispanic girl. Now, if she had turned around and said, "Hey, I'm getting this the sazon you're using to cook is just smelling up the air, and I just can't take it." Like, w crazy work, crazy work.
It is crazy work, because you could see it on Ebony's face at that moment. She's like, "What do I say to this?" She's like, "Well, I don't like," because that is so all of that is so
Rude,
jarring. It's so
racist.
jarring, and then the camera's in your face. You're like,
I would
"What? How do I
I would've turned
even?"
right to the camera and looked in the camera's eyes and broke the fourth wall like, "These bitches got me fucked up."
Very wild, and I think the other piece, what they really did her crazy was that haircut, and they're like,
It was the should we write her name in it? And laughing
the
while they're
microaggressions, right?
while they're cutting the small patch of hair that she had basically finger waved onto her scalp. Crazy fucking work. Crazy work.
Right, and wrong side, and it's just they left her with patches. Um, but from that season, we also had, which of course they didn't show because Adrian, who won that show,
Mhm.
um, she has a bad relationship with with those folks as
Does
well,
she
and she
really?
yeah, she does. She
Okay.
is not she doesn't do any of that, and I sent you the video, she just because she's very sarcastic,
Oh,
but
Adrian.
she
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
that. I'm
but
thinking about the other girl. Somebody else.
yeah, well, Adrian is like, "Girl, if you expected Tyra," she said, "If you expected Tyra to be remorseful after
She
20
wasn't ever
years,
gonna do that. Yeah.
right, please." But that was just such that one was it was a little rough. Do you
A little.
since I know you're a big fan of, early shows
Mhm.
and reality shows, do you feel as though of course, looking back, you have a different perspective, but you think that first season that there deserved to be at least a little grace from like there are lessons that we could have learned, but obviously did not.
Yeah, see, I like to I've had this conversation several times with a couple of different people. 2 things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
Yes, we are learning, going by the seat of our pants, building the plane as we're flying. Also, it can be fucked up that you thought it was appropriate for you to put a dark-skinned, bald-head woman on TV and exploit her, not only about her skin color, but then also her sexuality. Like, those things are not cool,
Mhm.
and crazy work. You walk in. So, I also know that you're a lesbian. He I thought we were here to model. Like, I'm confused. So I think that while giving grace and saying, "Okay, this was a learning experience for the first
Mhm.
season," we can also acknowledge that these things were super fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
2 things can be true at the same time. So, yeah, there was some grace given, but should we also remove the fact that it was still fucked up and that this person or these people had these traumatic ass experiences that they are still dealing with in 2026?
Yeah.
I think Giselle even made a point to say, like, "I still have that lingering voice in the back of my head that tells me that I'm not good enough because of the damage that I experienced from America's Next Top Model." Because mind you, these girls are all, like, 18 to 21 at max. Some of them are a little older, but most of them 18 to 21. The frontal lobe still developing, okay? So, I it was very unfortunate for me to, like, have to experience that. So, I am of the
Mhm.
nature that, yes, it was a learning experiment at the beginning, but also it was still fucked up, super
Mm.
predatory.
Very. And then we get to the second piece of it, which is he is shaking his head, y'all. The Shandy
Mhm,
part,
mhm, mhm.
um, which as as it was portrayed in the show, the girls were modeling down and they had after the session, they went back to their hotel, invited the guys over. They had a bunch of wine and blah blah blah. Shandy was, I guess, taken to the restroom and then assaulted, and then of course the storyboard of the show was that she cheated on
Mhm. Mhm.
her
Her
boyfriend,
boyfriend.
and he's calling her names, and she lived with that shame. She says when she was out in New York, they tried to make this work, and she's out in New York, and they calling her sluts and stuff on the street when they're out
Which is even
together.
more crazy.
So, and she says she just still works at the Walgreens at this point. Um,
Mhm.
so what was your reaction to
Yeah.
this particular piece?
I'm indifferent. I'm very indifferent in at this particular scenario because I think that although there were some elements of that entire scenario that I think could have been self-induced. So, like, recognizing that you were in a relationship and you knew that these men were coming back to the hotel. But I also recognize that production produces. And
Yeah,
so you had these men who were their tour guides showing them around to all these, what do they call them, walkthroughs or see-throughs or whatever the fuck it is. And that the plan already was to bring those men back to their hotel later on, bring in alcohol, and then see what happens as the cameras roll. So I think that that was a little bit fucked up because they already knew what type time it was. But what has been more jarring to me about that whole thing, outside of the fact that they felt so comfortable to just keep the cameras rolling while this person is having full blown sex while seriously intoxicated, is the generalized public's response to
mm,
the scenario and just saying like, "Well, she got drunk and got fucked, so what?" And it's like, "My God, do we have any empathy left in our bones to think about the fact that, again, let's go back to what I said earlier, these girls were between 18 and 21. If we stop and
right.
take a look, we were all 21 at some point, right? And how much of a hot mess were we at 21?
A
A
lot.
hot ass mess, right? So one cannot like fault her for being in a scenario that was basically put together to throw her in a compromising position. And then when that thing happened, knowing what we know about men who are being introduced into this space under the guise of you're going to be with these models and they're going to, mind you, they're not models. Okay. Because let's get into
Mm,
that. These are just random bitches off the street, excuse me, women off the street who are being thrusted in front of a camera and taking these ridiculous ass poses in these ridiculous ass themes that are overproduced, over edited, like just crazy. You think they're not gonna try to take advantage of these women? Absolutely. So I think that there is like it's just jarring to me that people are like, well, fuck it. That's what she get. Do you know how many times that black women who are young between the ages of 15 to 21 are given that same exact response. Well, she wanted it, so that means she set herself up for it. And it's like, how do we understand that? But then when it becomes a different scenario, we completely remove that lens and we're like, oh, well, she deserved it. Like, it just is kind of wild to me. No one deserves to have something like that displayed on television. No one, right? Unless they sign up for it and are a porn star, right? So it's just very like wild to me because we know everybody got an Uncle Pookie in them or know an Uncle Pookie in them that does a little bit too much around the children, the women, the young girls in the family, or the creepy uncle, right? and we can recognize how nasty and predatory that is, but we don't use that same lens to understand how nasty and predatory these random men who were just showing them around Rome or Italy or wherever the fuck they were, they don't know at all. Also coming in, getting them drunk with wine and getting them loose and porking them. Like, just as crazy. And so, I was talking to Jimmy about this last night. He was like, "Well, the other girls were in there and they didn't really stop her." Well, of course they didn't, because earlier in the episode, you heard them say that production really had a lot of influence in saying to one another in the confessionals, "Well, you know, so and so said this about you. And you know, so and so did this about you," to get those and they showed clips of one of the girls calling. She was like, Giselle's disgusting. She's a little cunt." They were like, I'm sure in their minds were like, "Well, I'm not getting in it because I mean that's what she get." There so many dynamics happening at one
Mhm.
time that were cataclysmic and made this happen. And it's just really unfortunate that there's not a lick of empathy from people, or some people, but the conglomerate are like, "That's what she get. She upset because she got fucked on TV," and it's like, Jesus, where's the compassion, people? Or maybe it's just me.
So so I think what fuzzies this up, because when we get to talking about Tyra, this all kind of plays into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Is the fact that this was one so long ago that
Mhm.
I think you lose the empathy there. Just the
Yeah.
empathy is just the further away you get, it's out the window. But then too, I think around that time, of course, we had like the real world, which did not
Mhm. One of my
sugarcoat
favorite shows of all
any
time.
of, and there was a lot of devious, disgusting things that happened that
Yeah.
happened on that show.
God bless Ruthie.
And yeah, yeah, God bless Ruthie. There was some things that happened on that show, and ANTM, as I mentioned, there was a piece of inspiration when the beyond the modeling, they dived more into that, like, the folks living in a house and getting, that type of
Mhm.
reality thing. So having a real world situation like that,
Yeah.
I can see at the time why the producers are hands off, because that is what made other shows during that time great.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's just like, let whatever happens, we just got it on video and we'll just throw our hands in the air. And as I mentioned, this was like right before or right after, I guess, the Janet Jackson thing, when things got a little bit
Mhm.
more strict. They were just
Mhm.
like they just wanted to make TV, and I think that that's kind of where a lot of that goes, because honestly, I mean, they didn't have to show it.
No, they didn't.
They didn't have to do it at all. They could have just alluded. They could have stopped at a point and just
Yeah.
whatever. But I think that's just kind of where things were at the time. And then the response there, like, from Tyra, when they asked her about it, and she was like, I'm not really, that's a production thing. I don't know." But then in the next breath, she's like,
But
"I'm a
I
master
did.
editor."
I said, this bitch right here knows exactly what the fuck happened. I know damn well she watched all of that footage, the footages, as people would say. I know
Yes,
she did.
yes.
That's the part right there. It's like, that's production. I didn't know what was going on, but I did become a master editor. Yeah, you knew exactly what was happening, and you let those cameras roll, because there's no way that you are so involved with a show like this, and it's 1 to
Mhm,
4 seasons, and you don't. I just had this conversation with somebody on Blue. Well, they stopped responding to me after I didn't eat them up, but after I, like, proved this thing.
mhm.
Same with June's Diary. Here they go singing back up for Brandy. beautiful tunes and sounds. But Kelly ain't do nothing for him, and then people like, "Well, she was just the host." When you are an executive producer on a show, you're more than just the host, okay? You
Mm.
have some, hand in how the show's working, what happens. Now, I get that the network that you work for also has a hand in that. Totally understand it. But as an EP of a show, please, you knew exactly what was happening. There's not a moment where you don't know what's happening. So you work in television. Correct me if I'm wrong. An EP has more than just a little bit of hand in.
Yeah, because those folks usually are the ones who help gather that money, so then to produce these shows, so of course
There you go.
they have a good piece to say.
There you go.
Uh, Other pieces that I wanted to just point out, of course, as we moved on in the documentary, we talked about, um, Danny.
My girl.
I'll couple these 2 things, or couple these 3. Danny, they told her to get that gap, closed.
Crazy work.
Um, Joni, who got her teeth
Fucked her mouth
yanked about
up, honey.
and just gave her basically a little temporary piece of something. And then we had Tiffany,
Mm.
who I think the Tiffany thing is an interesting case here. And then the other person I wanted to mention is Kenya, who was not only fat shamed on this thing, but then also assaulted on at the shoot at one of the shoots.
And they were like,
Which
"Girl,
that
salt."
now that piece right there, before we get into the other ones I just mentioned, but that one, because Nigel, his thing was like,
That ooh,
he's just throwing his hands up at it, right? Like, he threw
literally
his
and
hands
then
up
double
at it.
down.
Yeah, and then you have Tyra, who's like, if you have something, something to say about it, say it in a fun way. Basically, don't be disruptive or this thing, but, like,
As this
do it
man
real
is grabbing your
cutesy.
coochie.
Like, what?
I
Like, that is diabolical. That's diabolical because
very,
it just
very much.
them, of course, because these are the lessons that were not learned
Mhm.
from previous seasons,
Clearly.
because this was later on.
Mhm.
At what, like, Nigel doubling down on it in 2026 is really kind of crazy.
He felt the
Um,
exact same way. He was like, "I mean,
yeah, they're
hey,
like, this
babe."
is just the industry. You get over it. That's basically what they said. This is
Yeah,
it. That's it.
crazy work.
And if you got a problem, just be cutesy. They listen to you, maybe not, but if you want this work, then you're not gonna cause a problem on this set.
And it makes me think about how many times Tyra was put in a predicament
Mhm.
similarly, and had to just act like, "Oh, this is so
Oh, it's
fun, but I'm
okay. It's alright.
uncomfortable." Yeah, like, that is crazy. And I also jumping back to Danny and the Gap thing, what was striking for me is that they wanted her to close her gap, but then seasons later, they wanted to widen a girl's gap, and they likened it to, I think her name is Lauren Hutton, who is known for having a gap. Now why is it praised for the white woman to get her gap,
Oh,
her
well,
natural gap
well,
widened, but the black girl needs to close her gap? Like, now and it ain't like you didn't know who Lauren Hutton was previously.
then, because it wasn't that
And then
many.
thank you,
Because
there's
mind you,
not that many.
they said that they were doing 2 cycles a year. So, the amount of time between that could only have been a couple of years.
You already know. Crazy work. So, like, this is what I mean by the internalized, like, racism, sexism, homophobia, like, all of those things were just on full display. It was just, like, all the things to your earlier point about her get back. She wanted to get back, but then once she realized how much prominence and fame it bought her,
Mhm.
there was no point going back now. Like, I'm gonna make this space, which is why I felt like Tiffany, to go to her, it felt like a charity case for Tyra. It wasn't
Mhm.
really about how much she really liked her. I think there was some elements of, there's a black girl here and I see this black girl, but Imma change her life. Just this hood booger, Imma take her out and I can do. That's what that was about. And you got played when you thought you could take someone who has, like we said earlier, these things are circumstantial, like her circumstances, right? You bring her out
Mhm.
of that and you think because you put her in a dress and you put her in front of a camera, that those things that caused her to be as hard and as attitudinal and as hard to work with, you forget about those things because you think that they just go away, and they don't. Like, these are people's real lives, which is why I feel like it was super predatory because when she followed up with Danny and called Danny and said, "I already knew that half of the places that you thought you were gonna be able to get into, I already knew that you wouldn't get into them." Predatory, predatory, because Tyra knew then it took her how many years, how many no's, how many ignores, and "You are too black. You are too tall or funny looking to get through these doors." You knew damn well that she was not gonna be working at Ford Models and be the most successful person in a thing, and they already had a, like, kind of, like, air around reality television stars anyway. So
Mhm.
you knew this, and you continue, and you continue, and you continue, and it's fucked up. It's just fucked up.
Yeah. Speaking of really messed up things, their
You better not
relationship
cuss.
with
I love that.
I know, I'm so sweet. Um, her relationship with the Jays, that
Nasty work.
was very nasty. Um, with Jay Manuel, like, this is your best friend, and he wants to discontinue and my this is a job. This is just a job,
Crazy
and
work.
she's just don't talk to him for days and say, "I'm disappointed in you," and that's all you get after you've been working with this man for X amount of years,
Because the
and
gay
y'all have
boy
spent
didn't play. So he didn't play back like you wanted him to. That's
and
really
so
what
he
it
basically
was.
got demoted. I
Mhm.
like, it's and and that situation, like, she had the pull there. She didn't like, that very much as she tries to, like, throw her hands up, the way she did that was not right.
And
Uh,
sent Miss J them flowers 5 days before. Girl, you knew what the fuck was happening. That guilty conscience.
exactly, exactly. And then even down to when Miss J had the stroke, and then Tyra was nowhere to be found. I mean, it warmed my heart to see the other Jay and Nigel at least
Mhm.
visit,
Yeah.
and then, of course and then seeing them embrace together again.
Yeah.
But
What
Tyra girl,
what made me sad about that is the fact that the Miss J still had some sort of hope that she would come and visit him or come and see him. Like, "She hasn't visited me yet." And it's like, "Babe,
he gave the
she's not
look.
coming to visit. She's not coming to
Mhm.
visit you, boo. She's not." Because if she wanted to, she would have done it a long time ago. This is Tyra fucking Banks. This is the same bitch that was on TikTok talking about some Santa smiles and selling ice cream and doing all this, like, off the wall weird shit. Like, the bitch has always been cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, like, always. But could you blame her? This is like classic young celebrities that go through all these tumultuous things in their lifetime and then grow up into be the most chaotic, crazy adults. Think about a Britney Spears, Tyra Banks, an Amanda Bynes, like all of like this is how it goes. So it's just like it's a little bit crazy for me. It was just wild. And it made me think about the world that we live in and how like
Mm.
crazy it is now. Don't get it fucked up. I still wanna be on Traders, but, like, this
But it ain't the same.
it's
It's
not
not
the
the same.
same, like, I don't know, I really hate it for those girls, and I wonder apparently there's another one coming out that's not involved with Tyra, and I
Yeah, I
think
heard.
that's where they're gonna start dragging the girls. because, like, I wonder why Eva didn't participate. That's the
Well,
first thing I thought.
Eva doesn't have bad things to say because every time she's asked, she's just
Yeah.
like, and I saw the clip earlier today, old one when she was talking about how Winnie Harlow, had negative things to say. This is Eva was on like Watch What Happens Live. And Eva was like,
Mhm.
"How can you say all these bad things about ANTM, but people would have known you if you weren't on there?" Because the thing is, Tyra has a better relationship with the people who were successful,
Yeah,
like
the
who were
clearly.
actually like who actually had who actually became like a thing in pop culture.
Yeah.
um, sh she has way more respect for those
But it's
folks than.
crazy because none of them are working in fashion in the way that Eva is getting ready to start a weed line. Like, let's be like, let's be clear. So, like, all the things that yeah, you had a couple, you had a spread in 16 magazine and some other places, and you did all of that, but, like, let the plus size model Whitney, baby, wouldn't know her if she passed on a motherfucking street between her and another white woman that I went to high school
Mhm,
with. Wouldn't know her. So, like, that's why I think it's still predatory because none of them are working in fashion in the way that they thought they would be, and they never were going to be, ever, because
mm,
the fashion world already knew, except for,
yeah.
like, Winnie Harlow, but, like, Winnie and I think maybe Winnie. And
Yeah, there's
Chanel
like
Iman or whoever the girl's name was. But, like, those people have very, like, model-esque looks. Winnie Harlow is because of her uniqueness, she is seen as this exotic, different, like and that in and of itself has its
mhm,
own ism around,
yeah,
it. So, this exoticism kind of like ooh, this is she's ambiguous. What is she? Ooh, we love that because we can't put a finger on her. We can't categorize her like that. It's just all very, very nasty. And I don't feel bad for Tyra being attacked in the way that she has been and will continue
mhm,
to be. I don't feel bad for her because the same way that you don't have any sympathy or people don't have sympathy for the girls who signed up to do this, I don't have any sympathy for Tyra who also signed up to exploit these people, making millions, billions by now, I'm sure. Well, maybe not billions, but millions off of the crushed dreams of these girls because
mhm.
all of them had their dreams crushed in some sort of way. God bless Dion. My girl look great right
She
now. She
look
looks beautiful.
amazing, okay?
Honey, when I saw her, I was like,
She
"Yes, mama. Fuck the
I
girls
don't know
up."
I don't know what she does today,
She said she's a
but
realtor and something
she
else, but
looks
she looked good as fuck, okay? I was like,
amazing,
"Yes,
amazing.
girl."
Aged like
But,
wine,
like,
wow.
yeah, she really did, but, like, an Ebony, like, if if really packaged correctly, Ebony could have been out here eating. Still,
Yeah,
still, she had such a beautiful look that was ahead of her time, and yeah, we didn't have social media and things in the way that we did, but there could have been so much more, like, love shown to her to provide her with
mhm,
a better, like, avenue. Maybe she could have gone into acting sooner, maybe pivoting her career a little bit earlier, and Tyra had the opportunity to do that, and she didn't. And so I think that's why what is so heartbreaking about this is because you
yeah.
had the opportunity to bring these people in other spaces, and you chose not to. And that part is what really makes me sad.
Um, so this is basically the episode, folks.
Mhm,
This our podcast episode. This is the focus. We're gonna skip all the other things this week. But I want to put a bow on this because I had a question for you.
mhm.
And this is also like a piece
You
of
wanna be on top?
character. Yeah, it's I ask that all the time.
Yeah.
If you know, you
Okay.
know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm
Um,
screaming.
but Tyra Banks as a person. So this quick question is just twofold here because I think Tyra Banks as a person is a beast that I just really can't put my finger on because this is she lacks empathy. She's a narcissist.
Very
She's a
much a
little
narcissist.
she's a little crazy.
Lunatic.
Um, but people defend her to the bone. Um, and I don't understand why, because since people still do defend her, she's like, "What do I need to be sorry for?" There's
Yeah.
like that she's like, It happened. What do you want me to do?" That's essentially it. "What do you want me to do about it
Yeah.
now?" And I just don't understand that type of character, but the other piece of this thing is that what we see a lot are people, as you said, folks who produce the show and make these shows. As an audience, folks want to see, well, these
Mhm.
days, not back then, but as an audience and contestants these days on these type of shows feel like they should get the like, if you offering the hand to lift me up, even afterwards, you should lift me up. So, what do you th what do you think about Tyra as a person
Trash.
and
Psychotic.
that sentiment of, like, even to your example about Kelly, like,
Mhm.
June's Diary probably could have been much bigger if she had lended them a hand. There was this video today, this, guy, he used to work for Beyonce, he got injured, 20 years, his daughter
Child.
made a video, and she's like, "Why hasn't Beyonce helped me or helped him?" Right? So, I think we put a lot on these folks. I'm so interested to hear your take on the responsibility that should be given for people who grant these
Yeah.
honors.
It is definitely an interesting thing. I think in some spaces you can. Like it's not an obligation, but it's definitely like you brought these people into the world. Why not support them? And they were your proteges and you built them into these women, especially from an ANTM space. You modeled you mentored these women. You gave them all the tools. Of course you would help them. But like with the whole Beyonce's dad thing, that was the job, babe. And the fact that you think that Beyonce of all people is supposed to cut him a severance, you do not work for a Fortune 500 company. You do not work for a regular 9 to 5, and even some people in that space are not even getting a severance package. They're getting cut cold, okay? And acting as if they never even worked for the space. So I think it's a mixed bag. I'm
Mm,
of the responsibility. It's not an obligation. That's the first thing. Not an obligation. It is something that could be nice, and it depends on the human being and how their spirit and mind is made up. Clearly, Tyra Banks rotted on the inside, but I don't think it. I don't want to say that it's her obligation. It's just what she started. You brought these people
mhm.
into this world, and then you left them knowing that they would never actually get to the doors you promised them. So
Yeah,
you do, I feel like, owe them some sort of support because you promised them one thing knowing damn well they could never get it, and then you turned your back on her. Whereas
yeah,
Beyonce didn't promise that man a damn thing. She promised him that she would hire him back, but then when you went and got hurt at Mariah Carey's tour, and now you wanna come back over here and think you're gonna get a job and you're a liability, I gotta get rid of you. Like, and you know how many people probably work in Beyonce's orbit during a tour? Babe, like, I mean, yeah, y'all worked together for the past 20 years, but you're a liability and things are changing. Hell, you see how she kicked what you call him off the damn tour? What's the dancer that was with her forever? Didn't really kick her off the
Ashley
tour, but just was like, "Thanks, mama, not
changed up.
this one." Yeah,
Yeah,
like, and that's just the name of the game, but, like, to expect for Beyonce to pay him a severance, crazy work, girl. Like, it's like the context and all that, I think. So,
mhm.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I'll just wrap this up by saying, uh, this is what I appreciate about Drag Race. 2 things,
Mhm.
actually,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
one one, Drag Race realized because Drag Race and ATM are kindred spirits in a couple of ways,
Yeah.
but Drag Race realized that, keeping that regular season, same formula,
Yep.
you don't risk jumping that shark,
Mm-mm.
as doing all these kooky crazy things, but and you do all the fun experimental things on these other, like,
Yep.
all these other
One-offs.
spin-offs, yeah, like, you do all that. But RuPaul made opportunities for the girls.
Yep.
RuPaul has a network, WOW
Yep.
Presents, that
Mhm. And the girls
and
be
then sh
presenting.
they do be presenting. RuPaul gave the girls a show in Vegas where they can actually come from the
Mhm.
actual
And
show
go.
and
Mhm.
go and perform.
Mhm.
DragCon, all these other
Yeah.
things, because mind you, America's Next Top Model was at its peak just as big. Top Model had like hundreds of franchises across the world or whatever the case is. Like
Yep.
there was room to create these things, but
You are so right.
the problem was Tyra, all of Tyra's experiences circle around Tyra.
And that is it.
So if it's not T Zone or the
Mhm.
Tyra show, it's all of these things that have to do with her.
Mhm. Be tiny.
Yeah, like that she just cannot,
Did
for
you
back
watch
of
wasn't she
that
on, Celebrity Apprentice at one time? Yes.
yes, she was. She
Yes.
was.
That was the season, I think, where Portia was on it, I think?
She was like in Trump's that's after
Yes.
they kicked Trump off of there.
Yeah, they had to do literally did a whole makeup campaign for that bitch.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, "Be Tinique." And it's like,
That
again,
was
here we go
her.
centering
It's
Tyra.
all it's Tyra's world and we're just living in it.
Now this bitch is making
It's
hot ice cream.
she's making hot ice cream and she's coming back with Cycle 25. With that being
Mm.
said, I think this was a
Ooh,
really interesting conversation. I'm glad we had it.
me too.
Um,
Me too.
I had a blast venting and talking about this.
Me too,
So,
as always.
this wraps up this week's episode,
Thank you for listening.
and thank you, TP. Go
Thank
get you
you,
something to eat. Go
TJ.
get you
Yeah,
your Mighty Kids
stomach
meal.
is touching. My what meal?
Mighty Kids.
Wow.
Mhm.
I felt like that was a little shade. You have to call me a
How?
mighty kids meal. I'm an adult.
Oh, okay. Big Mac, okay?
Now you calling me fat? This is crazy. The fat shaming. Wow, Tyra.
Wow, Tyra. We
Wow.
were rooting for you.
I was rooting for me.
Somebody said, in the comments about Tyra bringing back, the Cycle 25, they said, "I hope you learned something from this."
Okay, you can learn something from this.
I said
She's not
I
going
said,
to.
"Wow."
She's literally gonna market her hot ice cream. They're gonna be modeling hot ice cream at her store.
They are. They
They're about
are.
to be doing all that shit for her.
The international trip is gonna be to Australia where she lives.
Yep.
If
And they're gonna be
not,
cleaning
if
her
the
house.
good and good
It's
night.
gonna That crazy. Good night. Good night. Good night.